In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get Tekno Parrot correctly set up within LaunchBox. And I'm going to be splitting this video into 4 sections, where you need to keep your game files, which is actually quite important, setting up Tekno Parrot in LaunchBox, setting up a custom platform, and then finally how to add our games. Let's cover where we need to keep our games and our emulator. Normally we keep our games in the games folder here and our emulators in the emulators folder here. But we absolutely do not want to be doing that for Tekno Parrot games. And this is because they're very sensitive to how close they are to the root folder of the drive that you're using. So what does that mean? If you bury them in too many subfolders, they're going to stop working. So what you need to do instead is go back to the root of the drive that you're using and create a folder like I've done here and call it RKPC, or you could call it Tekno Parrot if you wanted. And if we go in here, we can see that I've separated these games already into their respective arcade platforms. So if we go into one of these, you'll find my game folders. So from the root of the drive, we're going 1 folder deep, 2 folders deep, 3 folders deep before we actually get to game files. Now, if we use the LaunchBox file system for this, it causes us to go 4 folders deep, which unfortunately breaks some of these games. So if I go back to RKPC, and this is especially true with the Raw Thrills games here. Some of these newer arcade platforms only have 1 or 2 games available for them. And personally, I'm not going to create an entire platform for the sake of 1 or 2 games. I'll only create a new platform for these if there's 3 or more games available and there is platform artwork available. But for the games that don't have that, I create a general platform called Arcade PC, and then I place all of those games in there. Now, you don't have to categorize these games into platforms if you don't want to. You can just have all of your games in this folder location here. But if you're using LaunchBox, I'm going to assume that you want to correctly categorize these as we're all OCD crazy. I also like to keep the Tekno Parrot emulator in this folder as well. And having the emulator as close to these games as possible can be beneficial because reasons. And this also satisfies my OCD knowing that everything to do with Tekno Parrot is in one place. Now let's move on to getting Tekno Parrot all set up in LaunchBox as an emulator. So obviously start LaunchBox up, go up to Tools, Manage, and then Emulators. And you want to press the Add button in the bottom left hand corner. And with our emulator name, we want that to be Tekno Parrot, of course. There we go. And with our application path, we want to press Browse. And obviously find where your emulator is located and select the Tekno Parrot UI exe and press Open. Now, unfortunately with Tekno Parrot and LaunchBox, the games don't always exit correctly when you press your escape key. So we need to add an exit script to ensure that happens. So just click on the exit script tab on the left hand side and just paste this in here. I'll pop that in the description below. Now we need to come back up to associated platforms. And in this box here, you want to type out the name of the first platform that you're going to be importing for. And for this example, I'm going to be using Konami eAmusement. So Konami Yep, that's the one. And we're going to set this as our default emulator also. And then just press OK. And then close. And that's Tekno Parrot ready to go. Now we need to set up our first custom platform. Unfortunately, at the moment, LaunchBox does not hold information and metadata for a lot of these newer arcade platforms. So we need to create them ourselves and fill in all the information. So just go onto the left-hand side where your platforms are. Just right-click anywhere and press Add, and then go to New Platform. And we're actually going to be ignoring this warning here because LaunchBox does not have information for this platform. So just press Yes, and then the title is obviously going to be Konami eAmusement. There we go. And this is very important. You must scrape all of these platforms as arcade. There we go. And you can fill in these details if you want to Google it and enter all that information, but personally I can't be bothered. LaunchBox will eventually have this information, so I'm happy to just wait until that happens. Then if we go to Parents, I want this to be in the arcade category, and then I'm just going to press OK. Now that we have our platform set up, we need to start adding our games to it. With Tekno Parrot, we're not going to be importing any ROM files or folders or anything like that. We're going to be importing the game profile XML files here. And before you start importing anything, you want to start Tekno Parrot up as it has all the information that you need. So it's got platform information here, and it also makes it easier to identify which XML is for what game. So for some of these games, it's really obvious. So games like Aliens Extermination, that's pretty self-explanatory. But if we go further down the list, what's this for? I have no idea, and I couldn't guess what these are for. So to find out which XML is required for which game, go to the UI, select the game that you're importing, open up the wiki, and the game's XML is actually in the URL right here. So that's the quickest and easiest way to identify your XML files. Firstly, I'm going to show you how to add these in bulk, and then I'm going to show you how to add them individually. So after you've figured out which game XML files that you need for your platform, just go up to Tools, Import, ROM Files, and click Next. Now we just want to add files, not folder, and we want to find the Tekno Parrot emulator for this one, and then we want to go into Game Profiles. I'm just going to add 2 games to show you how to do it in bulk, and I want these to be Contra and Silent Hill. So there's Contra. Let's find Silent Hill. There it is. And press open after you've selected all of your XML files. And then just press next. And then find your platform on this list here. So where is Konami? There it is. And obviously we want to scrape as arcade. And press next. Now we want to select Tekno Parrot as our emulator. Then we're just going to press next. Use files in their current location. Search for metadata. Press next. I'm not going to tell you which artwork to download because that's pure personal preference. So I'm just going to skip past all of this. You don't actually have to do anything with these checklists here. Press next. At this stage here, you can go ahead and change your game titles to what they actually are. So Contra is actually titled Contra Evolution, and Silent Hill should be titled to Silent Hill the Arcade. But I don't actually like doing it that way, so we're just going to hit Finish, get those imported. We're going to find our platform on the left hand side here, and we can see there's both of our games. As you can see, Silent Hill the Arcade has correctly imported under the correct game title, but Contra has not. So this has actually got the incorrect LaunchBox database ID attached to it. So we want to change it. So we're just going to right click on this, go to Edit, Metadata and Media, and we're going to clear the LaunchBox database ID number out of here. And we're going to search the actual title, Contra Evolution. So I'm just going to type Contra Evo and let the database search that. And there it is. And after you've done that, just press OK. And the vast majority of these game XMLs are not going to be correctly identified. So make sure that you check every single game that you import. Now that we have these imported and correctly identified, we need to do the following to every single Tekno Parrot game that we import, otherwise they're not going to work. So I'm just going to right click on Contra here, go to Edit, Metadata and Media, and we're going to go down to the Emulation tab on the left hand side. Now we need to use a custom command line parameter, and this makes Tekno Parrot use the games XML to launch the game. So I'm just going to paste this in here. There we go. And this is what we need to use, followed by the title of the XML that we're using. So in this case, this is contra.xml. There we go. Just let me press OK. So now Contra will launch correctly. And I'm going to show you that again with Silent Hill. So just right click on it, go to Edit, Metadata and Media, go down to Emulation on the left hand side, use custom command line parameter, paste this in here, I'll put it in the description below, and then it's your XML file. So silent hill.xml. There we go, and press OK. And that's it, now Silent Hill will launch correctly. Because of these sporadic releases of these Tekno Parrot games, you're more than likely going to find yourself in the future needing to add these one at a time, and I'm going to show you the best way to do that. So just right click anywhere and press add. Now you want to search for your game title first. So the game I want to add is GTI Club. So I'm just going to double check the title of the game in the UI here. So it's GTI Club Super Mini Fiesta. So let's get rid of that. And I'm just going to put GTI Club in here and see what the database throws back at me. And it's presented me with only one option, which is the incorrect game. However, if I keep on searching and put GTI Club SUP, it actually finds it for me. So be very careful with this search function because it's not always going to give you the correct results in the way that you expect them. So be mindful of that. So there we go, Super Mini Fiesta. And now we want to go down to emulation, use custom command line parameter, paste that in there, and I need to put GTI Club, and I think it's 3, yep, .xml. Press OK. And there we go, that's that game correctly imported. And from here, you can play some games. However, if you are experiencing full screen issues only when using Tekno Parrot within LaunchBox, just go up to Tools, Manage, Emulators, go down to Tekno Parrot, press Edit, and then go to the Startup screen, and then disable the Enable Game Startup screen. A lot of users do report full screen issues when that is enabled. Not everyone, I didn't get that issue, but if you're having that, just deactivate it. Then just press OK. Close, and that's it. There we go, that's how to get Tekno Parrot all set up in LaunchBox. Now I do like to keep these guides as definitive as possible, but without wasting anybody's time. So give me a thumbs up if I made that happen for you today, and if you want to keep up to date, you know what to do, and apart from that, go play some games. Adios.